There seems to be a bit of a bottleneck at the results sort of stage and analysing the results of an experiment. And it took about 2 weeks for some product managers to sort of figure out what those tests are actually saying. So the summarise results agent has just completely quickened up that whole process.
So Calley, how do you use agents day to day within the workflow?
So we use quite a few generally throughout the workflow, but I would say the most important one that we use and the most that we're getting the most value out of is the summarize results agent. So what I found at the beginning of the discovery for how experimentation was at ASOS, there seems to be a bit of a bottleneck at the results sort of stage and analysing the results of an experiment. And it took about 2 weeks for some product managers to sort of figure out what those tests are actually saying and then do some extra sort of analysis after that. So the summarize results agent has just completely quickened up that whole process. It's actually sort of halved on average the analysis time that we're spending, and also the format in which it comes has been brilliant. So it will just wrap up obviously all your results. It'll have the stats there, the recommendations, and it's not too technical that you can't send it to like a non-technical stakeholder, which is also really good. So yeah, I'd say that's brought the most value and sort of helped with the velocity piece again. But we're also using the ideation and planning agents like religiously now, which has been really good. And different people from across the business of using them in different ways. But I would say the summarize results agent has been the best so far for us.
Yeah, so it's interesting to hear that actually, because yeah, we're the same. I think when we got different teams running tests, they like the idea, they run it, but then it comes to the point where actually how did it perform? And I know a lot of teams, if you've got product teams kind of involved, where I know they haven't got the analytical skills, or they think they haven't, and it's like how can you make it more simple to share the results. And I think we do have a bit of a culture around more of like test to win rather than test to learn, which I think if we can use these agents to help summarize what are the next steps and recommendations, it will really kind of bring out that test and learn culture. They'll have something to kind of report back to the business what the next steps are, and be able to wrap it up so anyone can understand at all different levels.
Okay, well, let's get a little bit more specific. I know you've been building some agents. What do they look like? Can you give us some examples?
Yeah. So there's a couple of agents, custom agents we've built. Selfishly, there's one that's helped with the experimentation like program generally. There was definitely a bit of a need to have some visibility on what experiments are going on around the business. We didn't really have much of a clear sort of visibility of that. So we've worked really closely with Optimizely to build out a custom agent that will sort of generate a report, tell us sort of the weekly experiments that have been in the past week, what's sort of concluded, what's paused, extra detail on the experiment, sort of the owners. And that report is just like super concise and something that I can literally attach to an email to the rest of the business with a little bit more context about specific examples. And it's just helped with that transparency overall of like what's going on. And then you kind of actually like get less questions because everybody's already sort of self-sourcing that information. So that custom agent's been brilliant, and we're ever evolving it as well. So actually this morning we've evolved it even more to look at the last 3 months worth. So then you get a bit more of a historical context of what's going on. So that's really great. And yeah, one of our principal engineers has also built a custom agent to help him with feature flag audits. So it's not necessarily something we've really focused in on over the last perhaps year or two. And we've obviously accumulated some flags. So we want to make sure we can review those really easy. And this agent does that for us. So it takes out that manual step of going through everything and checking, which is excellent. So yeah, we've done a couple, loads more on the roadmap.